what the marketing pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media and stop letting it use you. That's one thing about a business. It's an equalizer. It's a game changer. We have to think like the successful companies. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Man, sometimes you need the soul to be saved too. Sometimes, hey, check, if we do that, that's okay too. We are here to build businesses and put people to work. That's our mission. That's our raison d'etre, our reason for being. And we've been at it now for over 12 years. Matter of fact, we're celebrating 12 years this month, May 10th. That actually is another milestone. My dear old dad, Reverend Dr. W.H. Gatewood, he was the inspiration behind this show. He was a Baptist minister, and he was in this church, same church, for over 50 years. And he'd be up there in the pulpit and spreading that good old gospel. And my little knucklehead out there in the pews checking it out. And it just inspired me. I said, when I get older, I'm going to inspire some folks too. Now, he was in the spiritual arena. I'm in the business arena. But, hey, whatever you do, got to have passion, got to have a purpose. And my purpose is to build strong businesses in our community and put people to work. That's my ministry. I'm not saving souls, I'm saving businesses. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Robert Gatewood. I'm a business developer by trade. I put companies in the successful realm when it comes to business development. People coming to me knocking on my door and say, Gatewood, make me rich. And I say, what the heck are you talking about? That's not how it works. You have to have a purpose. You have to have be about something. You have to solve a problem. Satisfy some needs and wants. Until you're ready to do that, let's talk about it. Now this show, and I must admit, some people can't afford Robert Gatewood. I'm not the Walmart guy, okay? I'm not the fast drive-through window marketing guy. My clients they're pretty substantial. People like Joe Madison and Neely Fuller and Radio One and Willie Jolly. These are the kind of folks I run with. But that doesn't mean you can't get there. If you understand and are patient and willing to take the steps, then I can get you there. Not everybody. Now, we may have to make some changes. Sometimes you have a jacked up idea. Just no amount of Robert Gatewood is going to save you. But that's why I have this show. So before you spend your money with Gatewood or anybody, you need to understand the basic fundamentals of marketing. And that's what this show is about. I'm sorry, that's pretty simple, right? Sorry, anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, Mr. Brown, the greatest plumber in town, and everybody else who's tuning in from Facebook, from YouTube, from Twitter, LinkedIn, and all over the world. Thank you for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit Show. Now, if you want to join the conversation, we have a new platform, a new segment now. That's not a segment, it's ongoing. If you want to join the conversation, here's the way to do it. You can get on the air, and we'll put you right here on the screen next to me. But one, these are the rules. You have to chime in on one of the news topics of the day. I'm going to give you some news items to chew on. And if you have an opinion on any of those stories, and you just come on air, and we'll let your opinion be known. And after that, I might ask you, tell me about your company. Tell me about what you're doing out here. So you can actually get your opinion out there, and you can get a plug on your business. So get your elevator pitch ready. And if you want to know how to get that, here's the information on how to participate in the show. You can go to this link, or you can go to marketingpulpit.com, and you'll see a link there that says how to be a guest. So we'd love to hear your voice. We are about building businesses and creating jobs and solving the problems in our community. And your voice deserves to be heard. And we are more than happy to give you that platform. All right, let's see what's going on today. Well, this is also, we have quite a few observances this month. We have National Mental Health Month that's going on. So if you know someone who's challenged in that department, needs some help, need a little extra love, then this month is for that purpose. Sometimes you can donate to causes, charities, nonprofits. If you know somebody who's having some challenges, you can reach out to them personally. But let's take this month, and I know we should do this all the time, but these months and these observances sometimes causes us to focus a little more deeply in these areas because we're busy. I mean, we can't focus on it all day long, but we do have these observances that gives us an opportunity to focus. It's National Inventors Month. I get people always calling me about their invention. Some of them are jacked up. Some need to be vetted out. And it's National Family Month. So let's observe these, as my dad used to say, let's take these under advisement and govern ourselves accordingly. All right. Thank you again, everybody. I'm Robert Gatewood. I'm a business developer by trade. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. You can find me at gatewoodmarketing.com. And you can also find me on Facebook, on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and just Google Robert Gatewood or the Marketing Pulpit. I'm also a consultant with the Small Business Administration, where I help companies in the 8A program who are trying to get their name out there. And so I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years. And I also have written a couple of books. I've written a book called Played in Full. It talks about how Black folks have been suckered, have been downright played by the system. It goes all the way back to slavery. And I make the connection between what happened during slavery and how it has continued up until today, and how we are more susceptible to some of the villainous practices of marketing than some other demographics. That's one of my books, Played in Full. My second book is called Smarter Than the Boss. You've done it. You've gone to a job where you have some knucklehead telling you what to do. They're like, what? How is this person my boss? You got more credentials, more experience. This guy got somehow connected through somebody else. So there's a book out there now called Smarter Than the Boss. You can get all of these books by going to just Google. Go to Marketing Pulpit, go to Amazon, go to Gatewood Marketing. You can get that book. And also I'm an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College, where I teach these topics. This month I taught a topic on marketing strategies. That's my flagship course. It covers all the basic fundamentals of marketing, networking, sales, advertising, strategy, branding, franchising, government contracting, you name it. And also, I also teach a course in networking and one in social media. So this information is available. So you don't have to complain about things not working. As a matter of fact, there's a saying called, it's better to light a candle than curse the darkness. Let's marinate on that for a minute. It's better to light a candle than curse the darkness. Now, what does that mean? That means that some of you, probably not the people in my audience, but some people, they sit around and complain about everything. Oh my goodness, I'm not getting paid enough. Oh my goodness, I can't, my politician didn't win. My candidate lost. Oh my goodness, my family life is in the toilet. Things aren't just going the way I want it to go. We call that cursing the darkness. Now, if you want to, instead of cursing the darkness, what I advise you to do is to light a candle. Because I've always been of the mind of, why complain about something that you have the ability to change? Think about that for a minute. Think about the last time you complained about anything. Think about, I don't care what it is. You could have gone to the 7-Eleven and your coffee wasn't hot enough. You got to the gas tank and the price was too high. You had to put up a website and you didn't get enough traffic. You did a Facebook post and nobody visited or shared. Well, you can sit there and curse the darkness and complain about it, or you can light a candle and do something about it. So this is what I advise you to do. Regardless of the aggrievement, of the problem, of your disdain, of the shortcoming, before you curse the darkness, feel around in your pocket. See if you have a candle to light and light your way out of that darkness. Complaining just not going to do it. Nobody wants to hear it. I'm telling you. Nobody cares about your complaint. I don't. I want you to do something about it. I'm concerned, but if you're not doing anything to light that candle, nobody gives a flying, you know what. All right. Anyway, I hate to be so frank about it, but that's the way it is, folks. So the next time you find yourself facing doom, gloom, don't complain. Get out your matches, find you a candle, and just light your way out of it. Is it going to be easy? Not always, but I tell you what, you better to get more likely to get some type of result than sitting there complaining and cursing the darkness. Light the candle. There, go ahead. All right, folks, this is the Marketing Pulpit Show. Now, what we're going to do now, you have an opportunity to engage, to be a part of this show. So what we've done, I'm going to put it back on the screen. If you want to join the conversation, I'm going to do my news items like I always do. And the price for your admission is to comment on one of the news stories. And at the end of that news story, I'm going to be so kind and allow you to pitch your product, to give your elevator pitch. Now, you're not going to have all day. I'm just going to tell you, you got about a minute to comment on the story and another minute to pitch your product or service. And I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. I get bombarded every day. There's 5 people wanting to get on the show. I'm only at 1 day a week. So if I had 20 people on here, I wouldn't have much of a show. Well, I guess it could be pretty interesting, but we got to have some type of order. So what I'm doing, I'm going to open the gate and let some people in. But you cannot, this is not a spectator sport. You've got to have something to say. So when if I'm talking about the Buffalo shooting and you want to chime in, let's do it on camera. If I'm talking about the baby formula shortage, can you believe that? Come on camera and talk about it. And when we're done, let's talk about the product you're trying to put out here in the marketplace. Let's talk about the event your nonprofit is having. Okay? Let's talk about that new book you just wrote that nobody knows about. So I'm going to make this Marketing Pulpit Show more interactive. That's what it's here for. It's not just for me to sit here and hear my head roar every week. This show is for you. But your price for admission, you have to have something to say. Okay? What I'm going to do is take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some items in the news. We're going to talk about this fool who went out there and shot up these people in Buffalo. We're going to talk about this baby milk formula. What in the world? Babies? What are the mothers doing? How are you going to feed your baby if there's no formula? I remember we used to get that pet milk in a can. We didn't even have can openers back then. You stuck a knife in one side, then you put another little hole on the other side so the air can come in and push it out. You pour that baby milk into a can or something and put some water and sugar in there. No wonder we all messed up. Now you got Nutrimagin, you got all these other, good gracious life. Anyway, we're going to talk about that coming up too. So anyway, folks, this is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. I'm here every Friday. If you haven't been tuning in, you've been missing out, but it's not too late. You got to light some candles. Don't be complaining. And also don't forget, if you want to join the show, we have a link here that you can join. You can get it. It's in the feed. And also if you can go to marketingpulpit.com. There's a link at the top. We have several ways you can become a part of this show. You can, if you have like an organization, or if you have something that's tied into something that's happening in the news. For instance, if we're talking about baby formula and you have a baby formula business, or you in that industry or pediatrics or something like that, then we'd love to have you as a guest on the show. There is no fee for that. If you're trying to sell a product, move your book, fill the seats of your event, then you can actually purchase some time that ties in to that event. And we can schedule it based on any of the shows that we offer. And so that's the way you're going to get something on a more timely, specific basis. And then we have our participants, open mic. The link, you can get it right off the screen or go to marketingpulpit.com. I'll bring you on this screen. We're going to talk about some of these items that are happening in the news. And we're also going to give you a chance to talk about the products and services and books that you offer. And that's the price for admission. You got to have something to say, some feedback. All right, folks, this is the Marketing Pulpit Show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about these news items. Marketing Pulpit, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks bag the food, got to talk about it. The right to choose is really a woman's fundamental right. She has the right to decide what she does with her body. And it's amazing that the people that seem to have the biggest issue with this are certain men. That alone should be suspect. They are all about the sanctity of life. Seem to have little regard to life when we flooding our streets with weapons and guns. Not so concerned about life when it comes to health insurance. They're not so concerned about life when it comes to better pay, which give you quality of life, better choices of food, health, and housing that can extend your life. So this whole thing about Roe v. Wade and his right to choose is steeped in hypocrisy. And we shouldn't fall for it. Once they start taking away the women's rights, who's next? Is Brown versus Board of Education next? Hey, I'm back. Boy, you see that ad about BLE Executive Suites? Now, BLE has been supporting this show for over about 10 years. They have blown up, ladies and gentlemen. You better open up your wallets if you want to make some headway in this business arena. BLE has been supporting this show from the time we started over at Radio 1, over at Miss Kathy Hughes station on WOL 1459, 95.9 FM. And now they have 3 locations. They have National Harbor, they have Largo, they have the Hub Zone up in College Park. I'm not going to try to take all the credit for it, but I know it didn't hurt for me announcing them every week on this show. We have other people that have been very successful that we've been promoting on this show. But you can do that too. I've sent you to that website, Marketing Pulpit, and you can talk about how you can promote your service on the show. You can also if you have a human interest, like if you have a product that ties into one of our topics, and we can bring you in as a contextualized content provider. Or you can just come in on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and we talk about the topics in the news. And if you have something to add, we'll put you on camera. We'll talk about it. And when it's done, you can promote your product and service too. So don't miss out on that opportunity. Now, you sit over there. When I told you now, don't be up there cursing the darkness when you could be lighting candles. Marketing Pulpit is a candle, whether you know it or not. That's a little immodest of me, but what? Might as well tell it like it is. Somebody know what I'm talking about this morning. Starting to sound like my daddy now, right? Don't get me started up in here. Hey, Brother Clyde Gatewood. That's my OG. One of the OG of the Gatewoods. My big brother Clyde. Thank you for tuning in this morning, Brother Clyde. Man, you just don't know how much of a positive impact you had on the younger siblings like myself. Man, none of us got on drugs. We didn't go out here hitting folks over the head. We went to college, got careers. And I owe it to my big brothers like Clyde, Wade, JC, Joseph. But it's a lot of us. It's a lot of us. I was down in North Carolina this past weekend. My brother Leon has a nonprofit called Holla. And they had a 5K event. And I went down there to support him. Man, I tell them, those guys raised a lot of money. People were so supportive. We went out and this food pantry down the street gave us about 20, 30 cartons of grapes. Man, I'm telling you, we picked those grapes up and gave everybody that we could find. We were handing out grapes to strangers on the street. I brought about 3 or 4 bags home myself. But anyway, folks, you got to do something. Don't curse the darkness. Go out here and light candles. And we want to thank Holla for their candle lighting and all the other people out here who are doing great things in the community. And thank you again, everybody who's tuning in. I'm Robert Gatewood. You can go to gatewoodmarketing.com to find out more about my company. You can go to Google to find out more about what we're doing. Just Google Marketing Pulpit or Robert Gatewood. And you'll see that we're about lighting candles. We don't curse the darkness here. Now we got stuff to do. We have stuff to do. Let's talk about what's happening in the news. Now I'm still, like, it's another thing you don't want to do, folks, is get angry, because angry, you get emotional, and hey, it's not a whole lot. Very little comes from raw emotion. We had this fool over here in Buffalo shot these innocent people. I never, tell you the truth, folks, I had never really gotten over what happened in Charleston, South Carolina, at Mother Emanuel Church. This fool goes in there and shoots up 7 people, takes away 9 souls, 7 or 9. One of my classmates, Miss Myra Singleton, went to Livingstone College with me. She was among the victims of the Charleston massacre. Now we have another fool up here in Buffalo. What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? I know what they want. They want a race war. They want us to go out here and start shooting back at them. I mean, they may get their wish, but that's not gonna solve it. But I'm just gonna say this to white people. You gotta fix this. There's nothing we can do to fix this. You've got to fix this problem. You just can't keep killing us. You just can't keep shooting people. You can't just keep taking Black history out of the schools. You can't just keep injecting this hate and venom into the vein of these young white boys who go out here and shoot up the place. Fix this, white people. You can't just be silent. You can't say, well, look, I'm not shooting anybody. I'm not calling you the N-word, so I'm good. No, you're not. You got to tell that racist uncle of yours, that racist granddad, that racist grandma, that racist neighbor, that racist coworker. You got to tell them this has to end. It's not going to have a good ending if you sit there and continue to be silent. So that's my advice to the good white people out here. And there are some. We didn't get this far by ourselves. We need you to do the right. We need for you to do the right thing. Too many people are silent. But anyway, President Biden went over to meet with the victims, and man, I'll tell you this. This is really emotional. This really ticks me off. Hold on. All right, I'm back. I had to go. Keep thinking about my classmate, Myra, who was killed by this fool down in Charleston, South Carolina. All right, let's move on. These guys don't deserve our time and our energy. They're poor excuse for human beings, as far as I'm concerned. But name calling and anger is not going to solve it. We've got to light the candle. Let's not curse the darkness. Let's light some candles. Get the decent white people out here. However few or many they are, they've got to wake up. You don't want where this is leading. Nobody does. Nobody wins. If we start shooting and you all start shooting, some innocent folks are going to get hurt. And it never ends the way you want it to end. People just can't be shot up forever without fighting back. And when the fighting starts, innocent people get hurt. All right, let's move on. President Biden is responding to the baby formula crisis. He's actually starting to bring planes of formula from other countries. Then you have some folks who are voting against that. I don't know what these guys' end games are. I really don't. These folks who are, what's your plan? What's your end game? You don't want women to have rights. You're feeding this hate to these young supremacists, white supremacists. You don't want babies to get formula. What are you trying to do? Make us extinct? That's what I'm starting to wonder about here. All right, let me see. Let me keep going here. There is fears of a grain shortage due to the war in Ukraine. Now, there's a link between what's happening. That's why later in the show, I'm going to talk about this baby formula crisis. And this baby milk formula, the baby milk crisis is a formula for disaster. It's a formula for things to come, unless, once again, we take some preventive action. So my sermon today, my marketing sermon is going to be, again, about supply chain. I talked about this during the peak of the COVID crisis and the lockdown, and how this past Christmas holiday season, we had all these ships out at the harbor. They couldn't get the products to the shelves. Well, it never really resolved itself. Like everything else, it got swept under the rug. People start talking about something else. Somebody goes out and shoot up a grocery store full of people, and we change the topic. So we're going to talk about that coming up. We have grain shortages due to the war in Ukraine. In the Golden State of California, gasoline is over $1, over $6 a gallon. Man, I went to the gas tank yesterday. I could not believe. I said, man, what am I doing? Am I driving a 18-wheeler? That's a lot of gas to fill up a regular car. That's, oh my goodness. Okay, let's see what's going on. What else is going on here? I tell you what, folks, hang on a second. Don't go anywhere. Let's see. What else we got going on here? In New York, somebody trying to charge $28 for a beer. I don't think that's gonna fly. Okay, what else is going on in the news? Let's see what's happening here. There's a lot going on, I tell you that. Even in the printing industry, where I'm very involved, supply chain or even affecting printing. Right now, I just ordered one of my clients. We just ordered like 70 cases of books. This client is selling a lot of books. That's one thing that we've been very successful as my company. We've been promoting certain authors. Like I say, Joe Madison just came out with his new book. We worked with him to get him on the map. Well, he's already on the map, but we're promoting his book. We're doing some promotion things. Author Neely Fuller, he's selling as many books as fast as we can print them. People like Mildred Muhammad, Willie Jolly, people like that. These are all clients I've worked with, either working with now or worked with in the past. And so that is a service that we offer. If you have a book and you're trying to get it recognized, go to marketingpulpit.com and see how you can become a guest on the show. Some you can pay for, some you can come on and talk about your book if it ties into some of our news items, or you can just come in, pop into the news feed and talk about some of the news items and do a plug at the end. So we have those instructions on marketingpulpit.com. If you want to join the conversation today, we have the link there. I'm also going to put it here on the screen that you can see it. And you can also, you should be able to click it if you're on, I think if you're on YouTube, it's a clickable link, maybe on Facebook too. If not, just go to marketingpulpit.com and you can actually participate in the show. Good morning to Maddie down in Carolina. She's another very supportive young woman. She's matter of fact, I saw her at the Holla nonprofit event this weekend. Man, I went down there. I stopped by the McDonald's to grab some oatmeal. I said, I want to go in here all hungry going to this event. So I was pulling to the McDonald's, get some oatmeal and some orange juice. I said, when I get over there, I'm going to be ready. I get to the door, and here's Maddie with a big old plate of grits and sausage and eggs and cheese and toast. Man, I've never been so angry about stopping to eat. But guess what? That food was so good, I found some room. So thank you, Maddie, and everybody else at Holla who made that such a wonderful event. Good morning, niece Angela Gatewood. Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. We got the Gatewoods in the house this morning. Thank you. North Carolina is representing this morning. Thank you for tuning in. What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about war in the workplace. People are still cutting the fool out here. And so we have a segment every week we call War in the Workplace. We talk about how stakeholders who should be working hand in hand to support each other have turned on each other. Workers are fighting the customers fighting workers are fighting each other, and people are acting crazy. We call it, like, I don't know if it's due to the lockdown or what's going on, but we have a segment called War in the Workplace. We're going to talk about that when we come back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show, and like I said, if you want to participate in the show, you can come on the screen. I sent the instructions. It's over in marketingpulpit.com. And so hang on, we're going to take another quick break. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show, and we're going to be back in a minute. Don't you go anywhere. So hang on 1 minute. Hold on, where's my I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. Let's talk about war in the workplace. I talk about stakeholder relationships quite often. Stakeholders is anybody who has a stake in the success or failure of your business. And generally, these components, these ingredients work in concert. They support each other. We have synergy. They're like, freaking frat, working together. But every now and then, what we're seeing right now, we are seeing them come to blows, literally. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. This is I love branding. See that brand, folks? Are you branding your product? Are you sitting there complaining that you're not getting customers? I mean, you go buy yourself a cup like this. Cost you about maybe $4 or $5. Hand them out at events. Hand them to the folks that buy your product or service. Give them a free pen. Give them a mouse pad. If you ever wonder why people do that kind of stuff, it's about branding. When people are ready to buy a product or service that you're offering, they want to buy from a name that they're familiar with. That's why you have these billboards, folks naming football stadiums after their company. And it's subliminal. You be like, wow, I sure need some insurance. Why do I think of Allstate? Because they're advertising all the time. So you can't say they complain because they're not buying from me, or my people in my community not supporting me. They never heard of you. They don't know you. There's a lot of scammers out here. They don't know if you're one of those or not. When you brand, it helps that. It alleviates, we call it risk aversion. You're less of a risk. The power of a cup of coffee, right? You knew coffee was so powerful, did you? Man, that's good stuff. That's good. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in today. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. Robert Gate with your host. We're going to talk about later in the show. We talk about supply chain and how to get what we can do so that we're not left without baby formula. If baby formula today, but what's going to happen tomorrow? You can't just sit back and curse the darkness. You got to do something. Get your matches out and start lighting some candles before the light goes out. You ever see folks that have a storm come along, lights go out, and they say, man, where's my flashlight? You didn't know, you think the lights were ever going to go out? You don't run out to the store looking for flashlights. When it's dark, you have those flashlights ready to go. You know darkness is coming. You build your roof when it's raining, you build a roof when the sun is shining. Let's talk about war in the workplace, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on out here? Man, I hate doing this segment. It just brings out the worst in us. But hopefully it can deter some of these activities, and sometimes it gives us advice on what we should do when these kind of things happen in our midst. Like a lady in Kansas decides to, I guess she couldn't wait to find the bathroom. The police call her a poopertrator. This lady relieved herself in the middle of the aisle, and they said she damaged 8 wigs. Now, I'm not even going to speculate. My brain just not even going to go to how you can do that in a aisle of a store and hurt 8 wigs. I thought wigs was up on the shelf. What is wrong with these folks? And they have a picture of the lady. She's like, I mean, big old, I've told you folks, there's a camera watching everybody now. You can't do anything now. There's a camera everywhere. There's a camera across the street on your neighbor's house pointing right at you. There's cameras on the street, on the highway taking pictures of you if you're speeding. Cameras in all these street corners for these knuckleheads shooting each other. In Chicago, in these big cities, they have like these things that can tell where exactly gunfire came. You don't have to call the police. It picks up the gunfire. So why would you think you can go into a store and, God, I didn't even say this, and do that and not be seen? Lord help us. Now, we had this situation in Buffalo where the 911 dispatcher is allegedly hung up on one of the callers. This lady's, I mean, this fool's around shooting up the folks. She's kind of hidden and whispering, there's an active shooter. And the fool on the line says, why are you talking so? Why are you whispering? What's wrong with people? This is why we call it war in the workplace. People are literally turning on each other. Now, the person is on administrative leave pending disciplinary actions, rightly so. But I'm going to assume that the person did. I'm just, I mean, my mind just can't go there to think that this person knew that there was a shooting going on. I mean, because think about it. How often are people shooting up a well, let me take that back. Damn near every day. But anyway, you know my point. I'm going to say that I know people are pretty base these days, but I'm just not going to believe that this person realized there was a shooting going on and hung up on this person knowingly. But I don't know, boy. People that vote against baby getting formula and taking away women's rights and suppressing votes, anything is possible. Let's say women gave illegal drugs to preschool child and posted it on social media, police say. I'm not believing my eyes here. Police are attempting to identify 2 women that displayed images on social media of themselves providing illegal drugs to a toddler and a preschool-age child. This actually happened because the Harrisburg police have been able to identify one of the women and still looking for the second. I'm not sure what was going on there. You know, sometimes even the most depraved mind, there's some kind of method to their madness. There's some objective. There's something there's a statement they're trying to make. They're trying to gain something. I'm just not sure what the gain would be, even in the world of illegality and immorality, of giving illegal drugs to a kindergartner and posting it on social media. Okay. Police say an Arby's manager urinated in the store's milkshake mix. I was sitting the other day thinking about, well, I didn't pack my lunch. When pandemic started, I started packing my lunch. I went and bought me a nice little container. I can put my sandwich in there, a little ice pack. And well, today I said, well, shoot, man, it's going to be pretty. It's going to be 90 degrees. It's a nice day to go out and get back into the world. Now you read this kind of story. Well, the manager said, this guy, Stephen Sharp, he's been charged with 4 counts related to child pornography. He said himself, by his own admission, that by urinating in the milkshake machine, it gave him some type of sexual gratification. This is not a good time to drink anything. I have to let this pass for a minute, okay? All right, let's keep moving here. I'm losing my appetite between the lady pooping in the aisle of the wigs and this fool peeing in the. This world is going. Is anybody else out here seeing this the way I'm saying? The world is going crazy. Brandy the model, she said the 911 people will either hang up on you or put you on hold. What's wrong with folks? Thank you again for tuning in, Brandy the model. Check her out too. She's out there doing things. Matter of fact, I saw her at the 95K down in North Carolina. Her and her sister, I think they won. They won the prize. But anyway, brandleadermodel.com. Thank you for tuning in. Great listeners, folks. Great listeners. Also, like I said, folks, if you want to get on camera, you want to talk about some of these stories, I sent the link. If you don't have it, you can go to marketingpulpit.com. I'll put it up here again in case you do want to come on camera and talk about it. We'd love to have your comment, and we'll give you a chance to plug your product, your service, your book, your event that's coming up right here on the air among our many, many viewers. Let's see here. A vendor sustained life-threatening industry injuries after charging $6 for a hot dog. $6? I mean, life-threatening I don't know who to be angry with here. Let's see. I guess you go to these. No, you shouldn't. Okay. No, there's no excuse to attack somebody for a $6 hot dog. I mean, if you go to the movie theater, that's like a bargain. Or at the airport. We saw the story earlier where somebody was charging $28 for a beer. But Jeremy Delgado and Bobby Wynn face second-degree felony aggravated assault for leaving an Austin, Texas vendor with life-threatening injuries stemming from a $6 hot dog. Now, I must admit, I like a good hot dog. I probably wouldn't be too happy if somebody tried to charge me $6. But you got to think about, folks, these decisions that you make don't just affect you. They're going to affect your family, your boss, your kids, your mom. Mom spent all this time raising your little rusty butt, and you're going to go out here and now make her look bad because you beating up somebody because you got a $6 hot dog? $6 though. Hey. I might get a little angry, but I'm not sure I'm going to give anybody life-threatening injuries. They punched and kicked the vendor several times. The police found him and took him to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Now, suppose this guy died. You done beat him up over a hot dog. Just don't go somewhere else. Go down to Hardee's or somewhere and get you a $2 hot dog before you go trying to kill somebody. Man, folks are crazy. Off their darn minds. A UPS driver was gunned down for taking too long to parallel park. This was in New York City. Yeah, that makes sense. I was in New York about 2 weeks ago. Man, I was ready to shoot somebody. That's a wild place. Once again, are you weighing the consequences? Not just how it's going to affect you, how it's going to affect others. That's my main MO for telling these stories. It doesn't have to be as egregious as beating up a hot dog vendor or giving drugs to a kindergartner or pooping on the aisle of the wig store. Can't believe I said that. Oh, help me, Jesus. Help me, Black Jesus. Woo! I got a drink on that. Never mind. All right, let's take another break. This is the Marketing Pulpit. If you want to join the conversation, go to marketingpulpit.com with the instructions, or you can just click on the link here. We'll put you on the screen. Talk about it. Plug your product, the service. Pick one of these stories you want to chime in on. glad to have your feedback. I'm going to take another break here. We're going to come back and talk about baby formula. Is this a formula for disaster? Or is there something we can do? Is there something we can do about it? Marketing Pulpit. We'll be back in a minute. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. And been in the pandemic for the last 2 years. Let me tell you something, folks. That's a tough sale to get somebody to go back into the office if they don't have to. Man, in the old days, I'm jumping up. I got the alarm clock set. I'm racing out the door. I'm in the traffic. Can't even stop and get a cup of coffee. You weighing, you judging. You say, man, if I stop, get this coffee, I might not get there in the 5 minutes that I need to be there before the bell rings. And man, you get up now, like you don't even set the alarm clock. And hell, I get up when I get up. You take a long breath. You're not just having coffee and a donut, man. You frying eggs and sausage and grits, and toast, waffles, and the whole works. And it's hard to give that up. And so people, of course, they're going to justify it by other means. Say, look, hey, we can't go back because, and let me tell you, we just don't want to go back. All right, we're back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday, 10:30 a.m., bringing the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community, daggone it. And let me tell you something too, ladies and gentlemen. I got a letter this week from some company online, and they sent me an invoice, like $750. They said, there's a picture on your website. You got to pay us. Now, this picture was an old picture. I mean, this thing go way back. I've had a lot of interns and various employees in here. I know better. Can't just go out here and Google a picture and start using it. I know about 80% of the listeners out here saying, what? You know how it is, you see a picture you want. So what do? You go to Google and right mouse and save it. And then you start putting it on your Facebook page and your website. So, man, that was easy. Can't do that. There's a law. That's called copyright infringement. Somebody's picture. Most pictures right now on the internet are owned by Getty Images. And some will even have some even put the picture up with the watermark still on it. Can't do that. Go to a place like 123. Matter of fact, go to gatewoodmarketing.com. There's a website that we recommend for getting pictures. Get a good picture of about $1. Just about anything you want. So we work with a company called 123RF. That RF stands for royalty free. You cannot just grab pictures of Google and pop them on your website and social media. Same thing with music and videos. And you can't just say, I don't own the rights to this. That doesn't matter. If they decide to come get you, they can. And the reason they're not bothering you because you're really not on their radar. But when you start blowing up and getting 1 million views, they'll come a knocking. Most of them just give you, like if you're on YouTube, they may just give you a strike. You get too many strikes on YouTube, they'll kick you off. Or sometimes the vendor doesn't mind. They'll say, look, well, that's okay. It happened to me. Just as long as you give them a credit, put a link. Or they may, if you make any money from that video, the money will go to them and not you. So it doesn't always involve somebody coming to get you or lock you up or fine you. But you need to understand what the conditions are for using that copyrighted material. Like I said, it's not always a situation where they are going to be invoicing you. You put it on YouTube. The vendor or the artist may say, look, use my picture, my video as many times as you like. But every time somebody views it or clicks on it from your website or your page, I get paid. Just understand what the rules are of the game. But whatever you do, don't grab those pictures off Google. They will come and knock it. Just a public service announcement from the Marketing Pulpit. Let's talk about this crisis. Every time I turn around, there's some kind of shortage. We had a big shortage come this past holiday season. All those chips were out there at the harbor. We call it the supply chain issue. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'm bringing this up today, because it bears repeating. It's baby formula today. It's going to be something else tomorrow. You got to pay attention to the news. You got to tune into the Marketing Pulpit Show. So we're going to tell you. What did I tell you today? I already told you Ukraine. We have this war going with Ukraine. And Ukraine was a major supplier of wheat to the world. Not just Ukrainians, Americans, and everybody else. So something that happens that has this type of ripple effect, you don't feel it today. You don't start a war for Ukraine tomorrow and you run out of bread on the shelves the next day. That's why they call it a chain. So it might take 4, 5, 6 months, sometimes even a year before it actually gets to you, before you feel the impact. But it begs you to pay attention what's going on in the news, particularly if you are a business owner. These problems don't happen in a vacuum. So my first bit of advice, to stay current on the news. And you have to understand your supply chain. If you're selling hair, you need to see what's happening overseas where that hair is being made. Is there a revolution going on, a war? Is there a disease that's making people's hair fall out? It might not affect you today, but it will affect you eventually. So understand where your products and services are coming from in your business. I gave you the example earlier. My marketing business, we deal with a lot of print jobs. People are printing business cards, capability statements, presentation kit folders, flyers, brochures, invitations. Well, there is a problem right now with getting supplies. I placed this order for my client books. We ordered like 1,000 books. What is it? Almost like 2,000 books. They told normally it takes about a 4-week turnaround. They told me these books were going to ship in August. I'm like, what in the... Anyway, you need to understand your supply chain, okay? Now, what you might do, that gets a little heavy, but every now and then you might want to go back and do what is called a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Those supply chains are really heavy on the threat side. But also, there's some opportunity. If you have like an overstock on some of these products that are in short supply, you have the ability to produce them yourself. You have some alternative products, that's opportunity. You can't get it, that's a threat. The threat doesn't happen when you run out. The threat is down the road. Okay? It's a good time to stock up on inventory. I've been saying this really throughout the year, no matter what you're selling. I was a buyer for Grand Union supermarkets for many years when I first came out of college. That was my first executive position. And we were taught to keep the inventory low because you're really evaluated on your turn, how fast you can turn the merchandise. Well, that formula is about to go out the window because you can turn fast as you want to, but if you don't have any product, somebody's going to be ticked. So now we have been given a license to go ahead and stock up on inventory. Don't hoard, but you need to get your inventory levels up a little bit. That's going to cost you a little bit of money. Now, some of y'all got that stimulus money, you got the EDIL money, the PPE money. You need to go ahead and use that money and get yourself on inventory, particularly on non-perishable items, things like papers, things like inventory on certain non-perishable items. So this is a good time where I'm going to say it's okay. And I've been a foe of inventory. I've never liked inventory. I've been saying inventory is evil. Now, Ideal Gear, he's also experiencing this supply chain issue. Gas prices and so forth. That is so true. That is so true. Also, you got to give yourself more lead time. Let's say if you're an author, just like this case, I should have ordered those books in March. If I had been paying attention, I should have ordered those books in March. I'd be getting them in June instead of August. Because if I'm following the news and I'm seeing the supply chain issues taking place, I can't be sitting there thinking I'm going to get it during the same time I normally would. So you have to pay attention. Know what your supply chain is. You can't just assume now. You're going to pick up the phone. Hello there, Fred. I need some more books. Can you get them to me by next week? Fred going to say, what you talking about, Willis? You lost your ever-loving mind. You understand we have a supply chain issue. Paper is hard to get. Now, also, you want to look at some alternatives. Look at your whatever you're selling, and let's just say if this supply chain hits home, what else can you offer instead of your top items? And also, this is a good time to start, maybe not tomorrow, but start thinking about a contingency plan where you can start limiting how many somebody can buy of something. Somebody comes in and buys everything you have, then they turn around and what do you call it, price gouge and double the price. That's not helping your customers, and it's not helping your brand. It's not helping your service. So at some point, you may think about invoking limitations on how much somebody can buy of certain products. Another thing you want to do, some of these little items that you're not really selling, somebody comes along and buy one every blue moon, they're just taking up time and effort, just making your life more miserable than it needs to be. Reduce your SKUs, your SKUs. In the old buying days, we call those stock keeping units. So if you're selling shirts, you don't have to have chartreuse and all these strange colors. And you may even cut back on some of the sizes. Now, I'm not going to tell you to start. I know the extra large sometimes are hard to find. So I'm not going to tell you to do that. But you may want to look at where you're selling the most products and concentrate on those. Now, if you might become the one who sells the XXXL, and you might form a niche market there. You just have to be more strategic in our thinking going forward. Don't just let business happen. It's like a car with your hand off the wheel. It's going to eventually run off the road and go in the ditch. You got to hold your hand on the wheel. You got to change the gears, put the brakes on every now and then, accelerate. Now, if you've got some real money, you might look at what we call vertical integration. In other words, you control the supply source. If you need 10 trucks to move your merchandise, and you're having problems with trucking, you may have to buy your own trucks. You may sometimes have to grow your own garden. I mean, that's an extreme, but that's another way that some of the bigger companies are approaching this. Like we can't depend on these folks. So what they're doing, they're bringing certain services in-house. You don't have to be a McDonald's to do this. Smaller companies can do this to a lesser degree. But these are some things that we can do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to this supply issue is not going away. We're seeing it with this baby formula. And the last but not least, what I want you to do, we talked earlier about don't curse the darkness, but light candles. Sitting there complaining, punching, throwing your fist in the air, blaming the government, blaming Biden, blaming Trump, blaming the stock market, blaming Elon Musk, blaming racism, blaming your own folks. That's not solving anything. Now, I must admit, I've taken this one to a fault. I don't blame anybody for anything. Now, I don't want you, don't be like me. I've kind of taken it to another level. If somebody runs me over with their car, I'm going to say, look, I shouldn't have been in the road. Now, of course, I might go get me a good lawyer who might talk me out of it, but that's been like my signature. There's so many times in my course of my business life that I should have sued people. People say, why didn't you sue? Why are you taking the court? I probably should have. So I'm not saying that's the way to go. But I'm saying don't take it the other extreme either by sitting around complaining about everything and saying it's somebody else's fault. You hold a light, a candle. You don't curse the darkness when you have a basket of candles and matches. Light the darkness. Let's take that approach to this supply chain issue. Don't complain. Do things. Do something. Take a step. Call somebody. Build a relationship. Partner. Increase your inventory. Evaluate your supply, your offerings. Increase your lead time. We can do this. That's why it's important to tune into this show every week. We're going to give you some advice. And going forward, I'd like to hear your input. That's why we're handing out the link now to the show. You can tune in. I want to hear your voice on these news items. I want to hear about your business, how we can help you. You can't do this by yourself. I'm just going to tell you. I don't care who you are, how many friends you have, how much money you have. You're not going to beat this thing by yourself. So what I'm doing is building a community here that we can help each other. We can pool our resources and our knowledge. We're creating a think tank here. We can help each other. So what I want you to do, come back next week. I want you to be prepared to come on here and join the conversation. We'll put you on camera. Go ahead and get you, pat your afro in a little bit. No, it doesn't matter. We'll take you however you are. And let's talk about some of these issues. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gates with your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. What you want you to do is go to marketingpulpit.com and go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Go to Instagram, follow us. Also go to our podcast. Go to marketingpulpit.com. You'll see on the right upper corner, we'll have a podcast. It's on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on iTunes. And so some of these topics that we talk about, we move from the show and create a podcast. Like this particular segment we just did today on supplies. That will become a podcast in a week or so. So you can listen to some of the podcasts without having to listen to the entire show. Listen to different episodes. You can also go to Instagram, and where we take 1-minute clips. We call them our 1-minute ministries. If you have a short attention span, you can just listen to a 1-minute clip. And if you want everything, all the shows categorized by length, by topic, subject matter, inspirational, marketing related, short, long, go to YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel, Marketing Pulpit, and you can get that information there. I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. You have been a wonderful audience today. I can't thank you enough. To Gerald and Clyde and Maddie and Angela and Brinley and Emmanuel, William. Thank you guys for tuning in, making this show a success. And we're getting better. We're getting bigger and better. Well, I want to take you with me. Let's not make this a spectator sport. Join me. Let's hear your comments. Come on camera. Let's talk about it. And you will become part of this growing Marketing Pulpit family. And I'm glad to make you a member and a part of the show. With that said, if you want to be successful, you have to do these 3 things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get out here and go to work. People don't understand marketing. You can't stop every time the money runs out. You need to come on and tell people why your service is different. Why is everybody so angry? Airline passengers biting the TSA agents. I mean, it reminds me of one of those zombie apocalyptic movies. And as a community, collectively, we're going to be taken more seriously if we have that strong economic foundation. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.